Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden UK. It's the 17th of May, so we're well into spring, almost summer actually. And I want to show you my fernery, but more specifically, I want to show you some amazing giant hostas, which are also slug and snail resistant. But before we go in there, which is the shadiest part of my garden, there's something down here in front of me, which I want to share with you first. It's a very interesting and strange plant. Right, now there are three of these particular plants in this border. There's one there, one here, and there's one down here. I'm going to talk about this one because this is the one where the flower has already opened. This is Dracunculus Vulgaris, also known as the voodoo lily. I will put some close-ups of the voodoo lily flower as I'm speaking to you, but the fascinating and strange thing about this is, and you might have noticed, there's lots of flies buzzing around because the flower smells of rotting flesh, putrid meat that's gone off, and I can smell it from here, and the flies can smell it because they're buzzing around looking for that rotten meat. But there isn't any rotten meat, there's just a flower to pollinate. And I'm pulling a face because it really is quite pungent, and my dad used to be a butcher's, and I can remember at times there used to be a wagon that used to come and collect all the bits of old meat, and you do see them on the roads. Sometimes you get stuck behind them on the roads, and this smells exactly like that, which is slightly unfortunate because we've planted these right next to our dining table. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. I was told and warned that they smell, but I had no idea that it was this quite so bad. Anyway, we're going to go inside the fernery now. Isn't it amazing what nature evolves? Right, by the way, I didn't choose that plant and I didn't plant it either. My other half did, and we'll be having words later because it really does stink. This is my little fernery. It's in the shadiest part of my garden. It's surrounded on three sides by the cottage, and the sun half the day is in on the other side of the cottage there, so we're in the shade. And that has its benefits because, number one, you can keep certain types of plant in the cool, damp, shady area. But number two, on a really hot summer's day, I can come and sit here, stay cool. It's lovely. Right, I've planted this up about 3 years ago with lots of different plants that love the shade. I'm going to, again, bring the camera in close and show you exactly what we've got here. But I really do want to focus in on these hostas which I bought, and they're into their third year now, and they really are surpassing my expectations. Let me get hold of the camera and show you these hostas, and at the same time I'll give you a bit of a guided tour of everything else that's in this garden. And so we enter my fernery through this little windy path. Now look, that border spends a lot of the day in the sun. This is semi-shade, and then we have deep shade at the back there. And I have planted here some lovely ferns. These are hardy ferns. These stay out, stay green all winter. I do cut them right back in the spring, right down to the bottom, down here, so that they have a chance to replenish themselves, and they have done just that. And look at the way the light catches that beautiful green leaf. Some more hardy ferns on this side of the path as well. Right, this is one of those hostas. Now there's two types of giant hosta here. There's one over here, there's another one here, and then on the other side of the little patio down there in the shade there's another one too. So we've got Empress Woo and Jurasic Park, and they are supposed to be slug and snail resistant, and I've never seen any slug marks on these. But look at that beautiful flower there. Isn't that incredible? What a wonderful thing. Right, giant. Are they giant? What do you think? There's my hand. I'm 6 foot tall. The span of my hand, I'm going to say, is about 9 inches. Look at that there. Massive, big leaves, wonderful foliage. The ribbing and the way the light catches it. Absolutely spectacular. But again, what a beautiful flower that is. Wonderful. I'll show you the other one in a minute. But while we're down here, let's just talk about these. These are shuttlecock ferns. So named because they have the appearance of a shuttlecock with feathers coming out of the ground. And I only put a few of those in and they've spread. They're really quite invasive. So if you're going to go for that type of plant, do be careful. Down here in the shade, we have an arum lily. Can you see that there? That has a beautiful white flower. And you can see there, beautiful white flower is about to come out and erupt like a great big trumpet shape. Pure white. Wonderful. Right, and of course, don't forget, we have our tree ferns. I'll just go up there, look. About to burst into their full pomp. Wonderful, wonderful things these are. And all that growth from there up is this year. I cut them all back. They must be kept wet in the summertime. You don't want them to dry out. Okay, so there's some tree ferns. We've got quite a collection of tree ferns. The nice thing about tree ferns is you can have tall ones and you can admire the trunk. And you can have shorter ones, which means that you can look down into the crown. Here's a short one to look into, look. Wonderful. Now, I'm going to try and move the camera so that we get the best light exposure, so that you see the best view. And that's where these come from down there, these little crowns. And look, there's one that's sort of semi-open, halfway open. And that will open in the space of a day. We've got Fatsia there, Fatsia japonica. Interestingly, that one's white. Sorry, see, that one's very pale green. And that one's a dark green. And one assumes that that's because that's in the shade more than that one. That noise you just heard was me kicking a bucket. I bought this a few weeks ago. It's going to be a water feature. There's going to be a bucket inside. That's too big, not that one. There's going to be a bucket inside of there full of water, soil around the outside, and then some plants. And I'm going to lift it up off the ground about here. You'll see that in a very short time when I do a video about it. Right, here's the other giant hosta, slightly more variegated. I think this is Empress Woo, and I think the large green one is Jurasic Park. Here's another one of those large green ones. Look, just get that. Wow, unbelievable. Casting lovely shade underneath. I did find a toad under here once. And again, another beautiful flower. I've never seen a hosta flower like that. Isn't that incredible? Some more hardy ferns down here. This green all over the floor, this carpet of green you can see, is mind your own business. Strange name for a plant. It has 12 names. I did do a video on it once, 12 different names. Another of its names is Paddy's Wig. And also it's known as, I think, Solaria or Soliaria or something like that. And it's quite invasive again. It gets into all the cracks, but it clearly likes it here. Hardy, stays out all year. Another little arum lily there. One of my lights down there. There's another one of those Jurassic Park flowers. Look at that. And I think down there, and that's another one of those flowers about to burst. Wonderful. I'm discovering things as I speak to you. Again, a lovely shady area this. You can stand in here and it's probably several degrees lower in temperature than the rest of the garden. There's a tree fern, there's the thatch roof, and of course we have my pan sculpture. So there we go, a beautiful, cool, peaceful fernery. And a plant that smells like the bottom of a wheelie bin when it's been left out in the sun. Hope you've enjoyed that. See you soon for some more fernery adventures. Bye for now.